skull. You are trying to minimize my value, as if you were better than me at controlling the senses. This is over-intelligent. I can therefore understand that you desire to die at my hands. For this kind of nonsensical talk is indulged in by those about to die. O most unfortunate Prahlad, you have always described a supreme being other than me, a supreme being who is above everything, who is a controller of everyone, who is all-pervading. But where is he? If he is everywhere, then why is he not present before me in this pillar? Cursing him again and again, Hiranyakashipu took up his sword, got up from his royal throne, and with great anger struck his fist against the column. Then from within the pillar came a fearful sound, which appeared to crack the covering of the universe. Oh my dear Yudhishthir, this sound reached even the abodes of the demigods like Lord Brahma. And when the demigods heard it, they thought, oh, now our planets are being destroyed. By showing his extraordinary prowess, Hiranyakashipu, who desired to kill his own son, heard that wonderful tumultuous sound, which had never before been heard. Upon hearing the sound, the other leaders of the demons were afraid. None of them could find the origin of that sound in the assembly. To prove that the statement of his servant Prahlad Maharaj was substantial, in other words, to prove that the Supreme Lord is present everywhere, even within the pillar of an assembly hall, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Hari exhibited a wonderful form never seen before. The form was neither that of a man, nor that of a lion. Thus the Lord appeared in his wonderful form in the assembly hall. While Hiranyakashipu looked around to find the source of the sound, that wonderful form of the Lord, which could not be ascertained to be either a man or a lion, emerged from the pillar. In amazement, Hiranyakashipu wondered, what is this creature that is half man and half lion? Hiranyakashipu studied the form of the Lord, trying to decide who the form of Nrsimha standing before him was. The Lord's form was extremely fearsome because of his angry eyes, which resembled molten gold, his shining mane, which expanded the dimensions of his fearful face, his deadly teeth, and his razor-sharp tongue, which moved about like a dueling sword. His ears were erect and motionless, and his nostrils and gaping mouth appeared like caves of a mountain. His jaws parted fearfully, and his entire body touched the sky. His neck was very short and thick, his chest broad, his waist thin, and the hairs on his body as white as the rays of the moon. His arms, which resembled flanks of soldiers, spread in all directions as he killed the demons, rogues, and atheists with his conchal disc, club, lotus, and other natural weapons. Hiranyakashipu murmured to himself, Lord Vishnu, who possesses great mystic power, has made this plan to kill me. But what is the use of such an attempt? Who can fight with me? Thinking like this, and taking up his club, Hiranyakashipu attacked the Lord like an elephant. Just as a small insect falls forcefully into fire and insignificant creatures become invisible, when Hiranyakashipu attacked the Lord, who was full of effulgence, Hiranyakasipu became invisible. This is not at all astonishing, for the Lord is always situated in pure goodness. Formerly during creation, he entered the dark universe and illuminated it by spiritual effulgence. When Hiranyakasipu was freed from the hands of Nrsimha, he falsely thought that the Lord was afraid of his prowess. Therefore, after taking a little rest from the fight, he took up his sword and shield and again attacked the Lord with great force. Making a loud shrill sound of laughter, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Nrsimha, who is extremely strong and powerful, captured Hiranyakasipu, who was protecting himself with his sword and shield, leaving no gaps open. With the speed of a hawk, Hiranyakasipu moved sometimes in the sky and sometimes on the earth. His eyes closed because of fear of Nrsimha's laughter. As a snake captures a mouse or Garuda captures a very venomous snake, Lord Nrsimha captured Hiranyakasipu, who could not be pierced even by the thunderbolt of King Indra. Hiranyakasipu moved his limbs here, there, all around, very much afflicted at being captured. Lord Nrsimha placed the demon on his lap, supporting him with his thighs, and in the doorway of the assembly hall, the Lord very easily tore the demon to pieces with the nails of his hands. Lord Nrsimha's mouth and mane were sprinkled with drops of his blood, and his fierce eyes full of anger were impossible to look at. Licking at the edge of his mouth with his tongue, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Nrsimha, decorated with a garland of intestines, taken from Hiranyakasipu's abdomen, resembled a lion that has just killed an elephant. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who had many arms, first uprooted Hiranyakasipu's heart, and then threw him aside and turned toward the demon soldiers. These soldiers had come in thousands to fight with him, raised weapons, and were very faithful followers of Hiranyakasipu, but Lord Nrsimha killed all of them merely with the ends of his nails. Lord Nrsimha is So that was the appearance of Lord Nrsimha going to the Bhagavatam. So the good to have slides again. Yeah. So I will now speak on certain aspects of his pastime, the essential aspects. It is verse right from 7:9-15. Nayam vivemi acitate tibaya yanakasya tibakya netra prokutirat rasarkadamstrat antasasya kastayati sharasankokaman niradavita vigibat arivinnakaga. My Lord, while never conquered by anyone, I'm certainly not afraid of your ferocious mouth and tongue. This is Prahlad Maharaj praying to Lord Nrsimha after the killing of Hiranyakasipu. The demigods could not pacify the anger of Lord Nrsimha. So that therefore the sea Lord Brahma pushed forward Prahlad So Brahma said to Prahlad, Lord Nrsimhadev came for you. So only you can pacify him. And then Prahlad Maharaj offered his prayers. So my Lord, you are never conquered by anyone. I'm certainly not afraid of your ferocious mouth and tongue, your eyes bright to sun, or your frowning eyebrows. I do not fear your sharp pinching teeth, your garland and your mane soaked with blood, or your high witch-like ears. Nor do I fear your tumultuous roaring, which makes elephants flee to distant places, or your nails which are meant to kill your enemies. So Prahlad Maharaj is saying, I'm not afraid of you. That Srila Prabhupada explains, yes, it's like the cubs of a lion are not afraid of the lion. That shows Prahlad Maharaj took shelter of the Supreme Lord of Lord Nrsimhadev, and therefore he is not afraid of the Supreme Lord, like a fish in the water, in the ocean. A fish is in the ocean, and the ocean and the rivers, very powerful force. The waves of the ocean can even wash elephants aside. But the little fish is in the water and he swims upstream without any difficulty. Because he has taken shelter of the ocean. So because the devotees take shelter of Lord Nrsimhadev, they are not afraid of him. I remember in 2004 when I opened the center in Brussels, the first year we had a lot of problems with neighbors, very inimical. Anyway, but then I went to Mayapur and I wrote for Mayapur a big picture of Lord Nrsimhadev. And I put it in the temple when I arrived in Brussels. And since that time, we don't have such big problems anymore. But then one day, a visitor came and saw this picture of Lord Nrsimhadev and said, I'm afraid of it, I don't want it. That's yes. So the devotees are taking shelter of Lord Nrsimhadev, and Lord Nrsimhadev, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Nami Bhaktyam Pranashati, my devotee will never perish. And we see how he reciprocates with the innocent, pure devotion of Prahlad Maharaj. There's another verse of the Bhagavatam. To prove that the statement of his servant Prahlad Maharaj was substantial, in other words, to prove that the Supreme Lord is present everywhere, even within the pillar of an assembly hall, that Supreme Personality of Godhead Hari exhibited a wonderful form never before seen. The form was neither that of a man nor that of a lion. Thus the Lord appeared in his wonderful form in the assembly hall. Just as a reciprocation with Prahlad Maharaj, with his pure devotion. So this is also important for us, that we must have faith that the Lord reciprocates with us. When Bhishmadev, when he was going to leave this world, 9th chapter of the first canto, he's lying on a bed of arrows, instructing Yudhishthira Maharaj. And he instructed him 50 days in how to rule this kingdom. And he said to Yudhishthira Maharaj, if you always follow strictly the religious principles and the instructions of the Brahmins, then you will be always protected by these religious principles and rights. And that's interesting. If we follow Srila Prabhupada's instructions and Krishna's instructions in Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, if we do our best to follow them, we will always be protected by Krishna. That's a reciprocation. Next. So this is the first. Now we are going to the fifth canto. That according to the Bhagavatam, Prahlad Maharaj now is in Jambudvip in Harivarsha. What is he doing there? He's worshipping the deity of Lord Nrsimha. He's doing puja, like we do puja every morning. He does puja every day, and then he prays to the Lord. And two of his prayers that he says daily are mentioned here. And that's the first one. Om Namo Bhagavate Nrsimhaya Namaste Asya Vebhava Vachanakavasadam Sikamasyamudaya Undaya Tamogasagsa Abhayam Abhyam Atmani Puyista Om Sham. I offer my respectful obeisances unto Lord Nrsimha, the source of all power. O Lord, who possesses nails and teeth, just like thunderbolts, kindly vanquish our demon-like desires for fruitive activity in this material world. Please appear in our hearts and drive away our ignorance, so that by your mercy we may become fearless in the struggle for existence in this material world. This is an important prayer because Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport that all devotees should pray like this. But it requires courage, because in this verse we are asking Lord Nrsimha, you have this very sharp nails, which is like scissors. We ask Lord Nrsimha, you conduct the operation, you go in my heart and take all the dirt away. Take everything away, all my anarthas, all my attachments. That requires courage, because mostly we are on the level of yes, but you are holding to the tree. So we don't want to let it go, but we must let it go. We must pray to Lord Nrsimha Prahlad Maharaj, please, that conduct the operation, that surgery in the heart, take it away, all these dirty things. At one of the leaders in ISKCON, she went to Vrindavan and she prayed to the deities, please take away everything what is an obstacle between you and me. That was her prayer. And then when she came back home, back from India, she got the news that her husband had left her and had another, was with another lady. So Krishna took away what she was attached to. It's hard lesson sometimes. But yes, but Krishna keeps his words. I will remove somewhere or another kind of attachment, Lord Nrsimha Dev. Because Lord Nrsimha Dev, if you worship Lord Nrsimha Dev, especially my Bhagavad Nrsimha Dev, should be worshipped by Nrsimha Brahmachari. Because Lord Nrsimha Dev doesn't tolerate impurities. But anyway, that's good. So Prahlad was teaching his schoolmates. We heard at the beginning of this chapter, we recited that, well, Sanna and Amarka were instructed, because Sanna and Amarka were sons of Sukha. Started to teach his schoolmates. They had kirtan in class, and Prahlad Maharaj gave the class. And I think the first verse is Kam Vachetvayo Dharmam Bhagavatamyam Durvam Manushamshamyam Tapyado van Achtadam. So Prahlad Maharaj instructed his schoolmates, you should practice this Bhagavad Dharma, Krishna consciousness, from an age of 5 years old, Kumara age. Because the human form is rarely attained, and now you have the opportunity to that. Of course, we see also when Hiranyakasipu heard this, he became very angry. Of course, that anger started when Prahlad was invited to come before Hiranyakasipu. So Prahlad was nicely dressed and prepared by his mother, and went with folded hands before Hiranyakasipu, and Hiranyakasipu with great affection smelt his head and put him on his lap and asked, my dear Prahlad, tell me the best what you have learned. And Prahlad was internally thinking, I will tell the best what I've heard to my father. And then you have the first verse he speaks, that he said, said Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam Padsevnam Archanam Palnam Dasyam Sakyam Atmani Vedanam. So that's the best I've learned. 9 processes of devotional service to please Vishnu, hearing about Krishna, and remembering Krishna, chanting about Krishna, and serving his lotus feet, worshipping his deity, praying to the Supreme Lord, and serving as a servant, and giving yourself completely to him. And then yeah, okay. Dan Dietrich said to his father, dat zou de manier zo je bijna erin aan. Dus first starting with that line, and he's very polite to his father. So, oh, best of the demons, that the sadism among the demons. That he said, yes, my father, you have been fallen in a deep well of sense gratification, he said. And therefore you should give up this attachment to lust and this world, and you should go to Vrindavan to become Krishna conscious. His father did not appreciate that, and he became angry. But Prahlad said, don't worry. Materna Krishna, Pardosvatavami you will never become Krishna conscious, he said. Not on your own effort, not by the effort of others. That, because your senses are completely uncontrolled. You do always the same stereotype activities for the body every day. En na tevitus patriatimi visnundrasje bij Rachtaman, atayat and their paniamas, the visnundram ordamni vada. That's because na tevitus patriatimi visnum, you don't know what's the goal of life. That you're like a blind man. A blind man is leading another blind man, and they fall into a ditch. And unless, he said to his father, that unless you take the dust of the lotus feet of great Vaishnavas, you can never come out of this deep well of sense gratification and come Krishna conscious. And then what was the reaction of Nrsimha? He became very angry. He threw him from his lap. And he called Sanna and Amarkat. Did you teach that to them? Is that what he learned in school? And they said, no, it's not us. We didn't instruct him that. Yeah, they said, we will take care of it. We will get rid of this pollution of consciousness so that he becomes a normal demon. That, anyway, but especially when Kasper heard that he was preaching and all these sons of these demons became devotees, he decided to kill Prahlad, and he ordered to kill him. But he was always protected by the Lord. That they put him in a well of poisonous snakes, but he was not affected by that poison. They tried to boil him in oil, but the oil felt for Prahlad Maharaj very cool. They tried to throw him from a cliff, from a rock. When he fell on earth, the stones became very soft. And then, yeah, and they tried to get an elephant to trample him, but somehow or other the elephant didn't want to do it. So this is Hiranyakashipu throwing Prahlad from his lap. So this is the appearance that we heard about. So Hiranyakashipu was a bit astonished because the Lord appeared in a form. It was not a man, not an animal. half man or lion because because Lord Nrsimha Dev respected the benedictions that Lord Brahma gave to Hiranyakashipu. Hiranyakashipu who did austerities for many years, standing on his toes in the air. For years he was standing like that, and ants were eating away the flesh of his body. He was there, and at a certain moment, fire came out of his head, and the demigods started to feel a little hot. They were thinking, who has put up the heating in the universe? And they went to Brahma. And Brahma said, don't worry, it's Hiranyakashipu, I will deal with him. And Lord Brahma came down and he sprinkled some water of his lota on Hiranyakashipu's body, or the ant hill. But his body was renewed by that, and he got a very strong body again. And then Brahma said, what do you want? And Hiranyakashipu said, I want to become immortal. Brahma said, I cannot give you that because I'm myself not immortal. Okay, that Hiranyakashipu said, he made a plan to get benedictions which would be nearly the same. He said, promise me that I will not be killed by any man or animal or any creature that you have created. And Brahma said, so be it. And then he said, give me the benediction that I will not be killed during the day or during the night. And Lord Brahma said, so be it. And then he said, okay, give me the benediction that I will not be killed outside the house or inside. And Brahma said, okay. And give me the benediction that I will not be killed during the day or the night. And Brahma said, okay, fine. And Hiranyakashipu said, no, we are immortal. We made it. But then Lord Nrsimha Dev appeared. He was not a creature created by Brahma. And Hiranyakashipu was not killed inside or outside, but just between the two at the beginning of the palace. And he was not killed on the earth or the air, he was killed in between. He was not killed in the night or during the day because it was twilight. So, and Lord Nrsimha Dev respected all these benedictions. But we will see later, after the killing of Hiranyakashipu, when Prahlad Maharaj has pacified Lord Nrsimha Dev, then Nrsimha Dev will address Lord Brahma and tell him never give such foolish benedictions anymore to the demon. That's here coming out of the pillar. This is the fight going on. Yeah. Here. Yeah. Yeah, and got rid of his shield. And we have heard Hiranyakashipu becomes invisible by the effulgence of the Lord. So. and that's the operation. Without anesthesia, so without that. Okay. Surgery. Pictures. Yeah. This was in a festival in Surat.
Surat?
Yeah, Surat. Yeah. Yeah, that's a kind picture. That's, okay. And then after that, all these soldiers, after Nrsimha Chaturdashi is killed, all these soldiers approach Lord Nrsimha and with his many arms and plates them out and kills them. But then Prahlad Maharaj is asked to pacify Lord Nrsimha because all the demigods, because here you see Lord Nrsimha on the throne, he's sitting on the throne of Hiranyakasipu. Why is he sitting on this throne of Hiranyakasipu, a demon? Factually, Hiranyakasipu is his pure devotee. Is Jai from the spiritual world. So Jai and Vijay were gatekeepers in Vaikuntha. And they had the desire to please the Lord. All the qualities that are in us are also in Krishna, otherwise they cannot be in us. So they wanted to give the Lord a good fight, to fight with the Lord, to please the Lord, to give him a good fight. But unfortunately in the spiritual world there can be no fight, it's not there. Therefore, they had to come to the spiritual, from the spiritual world to the material world to fight. And therefore Lord Narayan had arranged that the four Kumars would come and so-called curse Jai and Vijay so that they could come to the material world. And they came 3 times. Once as Hiranyakasipu and Hiranyaksha, as Ravan and Kumbhakarna, and Shishupal and Dantabrakam. So they came 3 times. That just to give a good fight to the Lord. So factually, Hiranyakasipu was Jai from the spiritual world. Was his most dear devotee. So he was sitting on the throne of his most dear devotee. That is Sodharacharya's saying. But then the demigods prayed to Hiranyakasipu, but he remained angry, and his anger would not cool down even after their prayers. And then, yeah, we see here in the picture, we see Brahma is pushing forth with his 4 arms, Prahlad, and saying, you go, because it came for you, so you pacify me. So Prahlad is going to offer his prayers here. Yeah. Interesting pictures. That's a very sweet one. That all rasas mitgenommen. That's also, yeah. So this is the second prayer. We spoke about his first prayer that Prahlad Maharaj in Harivarsha, there is now daily praise to the deity of Lord Nrsimha. 2 prayers, and this is the second one. I remember in 2001, 9/11, when the Twin Towers in New York collapsed. A few months later was a great assembly of all religions, and they came all to pray for the welfare of the world. And Rabbi Nrsimha Prabhu went on behalf of our society and presented this prayer. And that Svasta Vishvasya Kala Prashidatam Dayanti Bhutan Shivan Mitrodya Manasya Vadam Vajata Avdoksaye Avesya Tamnam Matyahaitaki. May there be good fortune throughout the universe, and may all envious persons be pacified. May all living entities become calm by practicing Bhakti Yoga. For accepting devotional service, they will think of each other's welfare. Therefore, let us all engage in the service of the Supreme Transcendence, Lord Sri Krishna, and always remain absorbed in thought of Him. Srila Prabhupada so many times in his lectures says they created the United Nations, but there's more and more division, more and more countries, more and more quarrel. They can't get, they can't, they are not able to create peace in the world. Not at all. That, and Srila Prabhupada said, only Krishna consciousness will, only by Krishna consciousness one can attain this goal. Because if they become Krishna conscious, as described in this verse, they will think of each other's welfare and give up this envious mentality. This envious mentality. This is my land. That, because my body has been born here, that nothing is ours. That it belongs all to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We invented these things. This is called America, this is called Russia, this is called India. And that, but it's all, it all belongs to Krishna. Bhaktam Jagatavasam Sarva Lokamashvara. All planets are in his possession. So by engaging in devotional service, their heart becomes purified in the same way. So we have here Prahlad Maharaj is praying, and we have Lord Nrsimha. He's, after hearing the prayers of Prahlad, he's saying to Prahlad Maharaj, I want to give you a benediction. I want to give you any big benediction you want. Many people would like that God comes to you and says, yeah, you can ask me whatever, I will give it to you. Many will say, wait a minute, I have a whole shopping list. But Prahlad Maharaj, his reaction was different. He said, my dear Lord Nrsimha, you know, I've been born in a family of demons. And demons are not really attracted to enjoying their senses. But don't entice me with this proposal. I'm not a bond, I'm not a merchant who offers service to you to get something in return. No, he said, you are my master and I'm your servant. And by engaging in my relationship as servant to you, out of devotion is nothing I desire. That, but still he's asking for two desires. He's saying, he's praying then, oh my Lord, Nrsimha, but I came to Krishna consciousness by the mercy of my spiritual master Narada, and please bless me that I always can engage in his service. That, and then the second benediction he asked, please liberate my father. Lord Nrsimha replies, already 21 generations of your family are liberated. 21 generations. So it means our father and mother in this life, our father and mother in previous life, father and mother in the life before, 21. But also in the seminal line of our family, also 21. So if we become a devotee, then our family will be liberated. But one may argue that, of course, Prahlad Maharaj was a pure devotee. We are not pure devotees yet. But, at least I'm not. So what is that? Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Father Maharaj said, yes, even when you are a Kanishta, a beginner, then still 3 generations will be liberated. So that's interesting, that's encouraging. The words of Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Maharaj. Here, some more exciting. Prahlad Maharaj is praying. More prayers of Prahlad. Yeah. And now we will see a lot of deities, mainly from South India. Deities of Nrsimha Dev. Yes, in Karnataka. This is the deity. These are all deities. Yeah, this is a temple in Visakhapatnam. A famous Nrsimha Dev temple. And Lord Chaitanya has been there. That's described in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Before I went further to South India, that beautiful. I also visited this temple. I was there in 2008, a meeting, Indian RGP in Visakhapatnam, and then we went to visit with all the devotees this temple. That's a beautiful temple. That's the deity. This is New Vrindavan. This is Germany. A special deity with Prahlad on the lap of Nrsimha Dev. You don't find that anywhere else. Prahlad on the lap of Nrsimha Dev. But it has, this deity has been carved in South India, and they follow the South Indian the style of worship. That beautiful. This Nrsimha finger challenge. Yeah, that also. That's German Nrsimha challenge. All the same deity. In Bangalore, then we have also Nrsimha deity. Nrsimha Dev. Oh yes, Mayapur. Yeah, during the floods, the Pujari was still operating, and one Pujari said one day a serpent came, a big serpent, and just passed him and circumambulated the deity and then disappeared. The serpent did not touch the Pujari. Sonani Bhash. This is a verse from Nrsimha Chaturdashi, which we chant in Mayapur and it's in all Nrsimha temples. Nrsimha Chaturdashi, all glories to Nrsimha Dev, all glories to Nrsimha Dev, who is the Lord of Prahlad Maharaj, and like a honeybee is always engaged in beholding the lotus-like face of the goddess of creation. So, thank you very much. Any questions, comments? Microphone.
Yes, Maharaj, thank you so much for the class. It's not totally specific about Nrsimha Dev, but I'm a little bit confused about the reincarnations of Jai and Vijay. I understand there were supposed to be 3 demon incarnations, but I read also that Jaga and Maidai were also Jai and Vijay. So is that correct, or how does that work? Was there a 4th incarnation?
Yeah, that is somewhere mentioned in the scripture. Don't know which Acharya said it, but it is said that these 3 incarnations came, but before returning to the spiritual world, they came as Jai and Vijay. That they came as Jagai and Madai, Jai and Vijay. And that's interesting, because why is that? If we hear in the scripture that Lord Chaitanya, because that's a verse prayed by Prahlad Maharaj in his prayers in the 9th chapter of the 7th canto. He's praying that, oh my Lord, he praying to Lord Nrsimha, oh my Lord, you are known as Tri Yuga. You appear in 3 yugas, in Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, and Dwapara Yuga. But in Kali Yuga, you appear as Chana, as covered, not known. That Lord Chaitanya so appeared as his own devotee, covered. In the same way, Jai and Vijay appeared 3 times, but the 4 times covered. And then after. But this past time, when Lord Chaitanya takes all their sins, that maybe not only from their first appearance, but all their appearance, he took all their sins. And because Lord Chaitanya is the golden avatar, and he took all the sins of Jai and Madhai, his body turned black. Srivastava said, oh, you look like Krishna now, black. Then it disappeared. But then Lord Chaitanya said, yes, I took all their sins on condition that they will not sin again anymore. But I will not keep these sins. I will give these sins to those who are criticizing my devotees. That's interesting. So we have to be very careful not to criticize devotees. And we will speak on that topic tomorrow evening. But that's what I know. I know that's helpful. Something else? Yes.
You mentioned that Hiranyakashipu was the incarnation of Jayan. Was Prahlad Maharaj an incarnation too?
Prahlad Maharaj is, well, in his previous life, we know about his previous life. He was, he was a young boy, and he had one day he was with a girl. I don't know what's the situation like, but they were together and they got a quarrel. They got a disagreement. And Prahlad in his previous life became very angry, and he decided to fast the whole day. But the place where he was fasting were the ruins of an old Nrsimha temple. Because Nrsimha is an eternal incarnation. He did not only appear in this millennium. And by that mercy, then became the son of Hiranyakashipu. So Hiranyakashipu, when he, at the time of the conception of Prahlad, there was a parrot in the very near, and that parrot was always chanting Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. And Hiranyakashipu, while he was conceiving the child, he was thinking Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. And therefore, Prahlad was in the womb of Kayalu. It's in some of the Puranas, this history is mentioned on the previous line of Prahlad Maharaj. But of course, Prahlad Maharaj in Priyad Bhagavatamrita, there you remember that when Narada Muni comes to glorify Prahlad Maharaj said, yes, I got some mercy of the Lord, but where is he now? And he just used me as a model of pure devotional service. That was his humble reply. But yeah, he's certainly, Krishna says that is in Harinam Chintamani. In the Vaishnava resides my bhakti energy. So he was the bhakti energy there. He was, because by his influence, he could turn all these sons of demons into Vaishnavas. So that's called Bhakti Prabhav. That the Prabhav means influence. By the influence of Bhakti, he could turn them into devotees. When my Guru Maharaj gave my name at Sannyasini, he said, your name is Bhakta Prabhav, Bhakti Prabhav. Now with the influence of Bhakti, preach all over the world. Somewhere whether I'm not alone. That's what I know. Something else? Yeah.
Do we have any compassion for Hiranyakashipu? I mean, God killed his brother. That is part of his storyline. Do we? It must have been tough for him to go through that.
Of course, these are pastimes. Pastimes means the Lord organized the drama. And he wants to play everyone the drama nicely. So it's like going a classical field and really a demon going to do it. But factually, it's only a dress that, for example, Prabhu said to me about Krishna's pastimes, when after the bottle of Kurukshetra and so on, and then Krishna removed the Yadu dynasty, they killed themselves, so-called. That, and for example, we said it's like a road show. They have finished their show of one place, and then everyone takes off the costumes and goes to the next place. So Krishna goes to the next universe to play the show again. It's not completely the same, but basically the same. So that's what's happening. We should never forget, nobody is killed. They are just changing bodies. Don't think it was so painful for them that Krishna arranges this very nicely. But yes, they wanted to render him that service and they did. Good.
Hare Krishna. So you mentioned how all the qualities that we may have emanate from Krishna, and we'll see. Sometimes we have some really negative qualities, or we see some very negative stuff in the world. Is that coming from Krishna? Whether it's greed, lust, anger, how is that coming from Krishna? Naturally, you'd think God, the Supreme, is all good, but what are these negative emotions? And
yeah, these are the qualities in the modes of material nature. That it's one of the energies of Krishna. That our natural qualities are our spiritual qualities, and these qualities are in us and in Krishna, and all the tendencies that we have is also in Krishna. But Krishna is never affected by the modes of passion and ignorance. So all these qualities of the modes of passion and ignorance are created by material nature, which is under the control of Krishna, Maya Dakshina Prabhu. It's under control of Krishna. These material qualities are created by nature. These are not our natural qualities. No Krishna's. No. We have the qualities of the soul. The qualities of the soul, which is in our soul, but all the qualities we have are also in Krishna. And they are described in some of the devotion. Krishna has 64 qualities, main qualities. And from the 64 qualities, 4 qualities are unique. If I remember correctly, yes, his wonderful pastimes, he plays his flute, his beauty is unparalleled, and his pastimes inconceivable. That's Krishna's own qualities. And we have 60 qualities. From the 60 qualities, these are the qualities of Narayana. But Narayana has 5 unique qualities that they are also described, the complete liberation, and I don't remember them all. But then Lord Shiva has 55 qualities. He has 5 more qualities than ordinary living beings. And we have 50 out of 64 qualities of Krishna. And Lord Brahma has them in full. But we have them partially. But all these qualities are described in nectar of devotion. By that we can understand. But yes, but that tendency to fight is also in the Lord. But the fighting must take place in the modes of nature, in material world. But Krishna is not under the modes. but it plays a role. It plays a role. This interesting that this requires a great amount of knowledge from the Bible to understand that there is science to be done. Is that all? Okay, something else? Yeah? No ladies? No. Okay. And I go now.
Thank you so much. I just want to add to the question which Prabhuji was asking about the pain. So there is a very special deity if you go to Ahobilam, right at the top, and that deity is, I think it's Jala Nrsimha or Nrsimha, I forgot. So Nrsimha Devi is first giving anesthesia to Hiranyakashipu. It's a different position, and the priest explains that very nicely. And it's just before ripping him apart. So that anesthesia is given so that he doesn't have a pain, and then he rips him apart. So it's a very nice deity. So I just wanted to share it.
Modern surgery.